Hey folks, Doug Blake with Body Design University. In this video, I want to talk to you about the trans theoretical model or the stages of change model, but I don't want to go over the different stages themselves. I've done that in other videos, and if you do want me to go over each one of them or together and explain them, absolutely I can do that. Just leave a comment in the space below. But in this video, I'm really answering a question that was posed to me by a student, which was, what's the importance of even knowing this? It sounds interesting and it's psychology. And is it really that important? And the answer is absolutely yes. One of the reasons we use this model, and again, we're not using it in a clinical sense in any way, shape, or form. We're simply using the basic concepts that allow us to kind of scratch below the surface and see what's going on inside a person's mind or brain when it comes to making decisions to make behavioral changes. So correctly, if you're thinking this correctly, we're not going to use the TTM stages of change model to do anything other than get an idea of where our client is at, kind of psychologically, mentally, when it comes to their ability, desire, dedication, motivation, decisional capabilities to make changes to their behavior. Okay. So the importance of the TTM is that it gives you sort of a framework in which to do that. Now, again, student asks me, is it important? The short answer is yes, it's very important. Now, to follow up on that, how important is it, or are you going to use it exactly the way it was originally designed to be used? No, absolutely not. We're trainers, we're personal trainers, so we're only dealing with a very specific type of population of individuals, and for the most part, the TTM will give us the capability, give us some starting point to understand where our client is at. Okay, think about it this way. You can come to me as a client, and you can pay me my fee to train with me, and after a month or 2 months, decide that you don't want to continue training. Even if it's not the financial commitment, there's some reason why clients simply cannot maintain consistency in their workout schedule or planning. That's where the TTM comes in, because if you can get a good bead on which stage of change they're in, that's what gives you the capability to navigate the right questions to ask. I hope this makes sense, because at the end of the day, all I want to do is I want to find out where they're at mentally, so to speak, in the stages of change model, because the stages of change model gives me some framework with which to ask the appropriate questions. And most of them are open-ended type of questions that can easily be navigated through with your client. If you're not asking the right questions, you're simply not going to be able to gain the confidence and have the type of conversations that are necessary to develop rapport with your clients. So yes, I know clients come in and they want to do so much, and they want to lose weight, and they want to do all this, and yet some strange reason they quit after 2 months, 3 months, 2 weeks in some cases. Why is that? This again is where the stages of change, or the TTM, actually comes in and helps you. So the trans theoretical model is very valuable because it gives us some really important insight, as long as we have discerned correctly which stage they're in. I'm going to give you an example, a couple examples here. But as long as we can gauge what stage they're in, we can now look to the model and go, okay, well, I should be asking these questions, not these questions. Let me give you an example. You have a client that's excited to get started, and clearly they're ready to get going with you. They're taking the meal plan. They are just ready to go, and you immediately think to yourself, action stage. But are they truly in the action stage? Well, yeah, they came in to work out with you. No, 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 no. What the TTM does for us is it allows us to break away from initial superficial behaviors that the client is displaying versus what's going on up here. Remember, the action stage is not when a person joins a club, not when they purchase personal training services. That doesn't mean they're in the action stage. And I know it sounds kind of bizarre, but the quote action stage, like all stages of the trans theoretical model, are psychological constructs. They are psychological. I am in pre-contemplation psychologically. I'm in contemplation psychologically. I'm contemplating. I might be doing a lot of things that look like I'm taking action, but I'm not psychologically. This is one of the reasons why health clubs, for instance, do really well in January and February, because you have a lot of people in both contemplation and preparation that never move into the action stage, or if they do, it's for a very short period of time, and they jump right back out of it into preparation or contemplation. Okay, so when you're talking about the stages of change, the value of this model is it helps us to distinguish between superficial, overt behaviors like, yeah, here's my check, I'll sign up for a month. Yeah, I'm excited to go, right? The superficial, overt behaviors with what's going on in their brain, right? They're like, yeah, I really want to start, and I'm going to go ahead and get going for this first 3 months of training. But you know what's happening in their brain? They're like, this is never going to work. I'm not sure this is the right thing to do. I really don't want to do this. And that's what they're thinking in their brain. That would be preparation, even contemplation, right? Psychologically, behaviorally, they came in and purchased a month of training with you. But as soon as reality hits, meaning they've got to before going home from work, they got to come in and get their workout in, or for instance, they're going to need to change their nutritional habits. As soon as that kicks in, they're in the they're not they're in the contemplation, maybe even preparation stage, but it looks like the action stage. They took the meal plan. They said they were going to do it. They actually even started it in some sense, but doesn't mean they're in the action stage. Or if they are, it's for like 10 minutes. And then they're back into one of the other preliminary stages. So that's a classic example of the preparation versus action stage. And this is one of the reasons why when individuals are in, if you can discern this, if they are in that preparation stage, they need some time to come to grips with what the action stage actually looks like. See, for fitness and health and wellness, action is not coming in and doing a workout. That is not the action stage. The action stage, when it comes to nutrition, exercise, things like that, is a prolonged process of behavioral change for an extended period of time, months and months and months, if not years. Now, don't get me wrong, people will flip back every once in a while into the contemplation and preparation stage for sure. That's common. But once they've been doing the action, they've been in the action stage months, 4 months, 5, 6, 7, 8 months, then we can truly say they're in the action stage. So again, let me bring it back to the importance of this. You can understand, I hope, that the TTM provides for us, for trainers, a very basic, simple framework, right? With which to discern the difference between these overt actions that people are taking. Yes, they signed up with you. Great, that's fantastic. But if you just let it go at that, like all of a sudden they're motivated and they're going to continue on without any input from you to continue with the discipline and the motivation and encouragement, you're wrong. Okay, because people simply do not jump into the action stage so quickly. And so that's one example, right? Preparation, action. Again, people can sign up at a health club. They can sign up with you. Doesn't mean that they are in the action stage necessarily. Or if they are, it's for that very short period of time. And then they quickly go back into the preparation stage, just as a, for instance, another example is folks that are in pre-contemplation, right? Pre-contemplators, they have no interest in even addressing, for the most part, their bad behaviors. For instance, if you want to say it like that, poor eating habits, no exercise, they're sick, they're on medication. These individuals have no interest. However, they can fool you. Because this guy that just had a heart attack in pre-contemplation, he still doesn't want to exercise, but you know what he'll do? He'll listen to his wife or his kids or whatever the case is, and they're like, you got to go and get trained. He goes, okay, whatever, I'm going to start go. Well, pre-contemplation is here. You could even say that that individual has moved into contemplation, I guess, but it is it's like pulling teeth, isn't it? Now, that individual could have actually moved into, for a very short period of time, the action stage. They sign up at a health club. Can't tell you the number of people um, that sign up at health clubs and never go in and work out one time. One time. Their shot at the action stage was simply writing a check or signing up for a month or whatever the case is, but they never show up. Why? Because they never truly moved into the action stage. In those cases, they just barely moved out of pre-contemplation into the contemplation. I hope that makes sense. So if I get somebody that is saying, "Yeah, I gotta start working out," I've had an illness, my family, I've got to be a little bit cautious here about just saying, "That's fantastic. Great. Let's go ahead and get started." That's great for somebody in the moving into the action stage, preparation into action stage. I can motivate and encourage them. But this individual, they might need a little bit more explanation. They might need a little bit more discussion time to actually help them understand and consider what these changes, these lifestyle behavior changes are going to look like. And make sure that you don't beat them up, for instance, real good on that first workout if they even come in for their first workout. I hope that makes sense. These are some examples of why the TTM, or the stages of change model, is actually important. Remember, at the end of the day, I need to know what's going on in my client's brain, because that's going to help me to determine the type of conversation I'm going to have with them and the type of encouragement and motivation that they're going to need to do the one thing that I want them. I don't care what stage of change they're in. I want to get them into action and then ultimately into what? The maintenance stage. Because at least if they've been 6 months, 8 months doing this and they're in the maintenance stage, I know that it's not as easy for them to swing back into uh, contemplation or preparation. Okay. And so your job as a trainer is to, yes, understand how the model works, look at it from the perspective of what type of questions do I need to ask this individual, irrespective of the behaviors they are showing, these initial behaviors they show. What do I have to say and how do I need to speak to them? Because I have basically determined that perhaps they're not in the action stage. Maybe they are still in contemplation, but they just went ahead and signed up. Anyway, by the way, you'll find a lot of folks like that after they train with you and they decide, well, this really wasn't for me. And now you've got to deal with that. You got to know, and I'm not going to go over it in this video, but you've got to know how then to navigate those conversations based on the actual stage of change that they are in. It's a very valuable tool. It's why it's used more than any other in the fitness industry. So I hope it was helpful to go through this video. If you have questions, leave them in the comment section below. By the way, if the video did make sense and it was helpful, write the word understand in there as well. By the way, if you have not done so, head over to the Facebook page where we can help you to become a certified and qualified personal trainer. Have a great weekend. We will see you next week. Thanks.